chapter we will apply basic design principles you learnt about in Chapter 2 to explore designing for immersion in AR and VR contexts. In this course we will help you explore some unique things that you need to take into account when designing for AR and VR. The focus of this chapter will be on visual design aspects, although other sensory aspects will be mentioned only briefly. Designing for immersion relies heavily on hardware technologies, however, in this course the focus is on design principles and choices and not on hardware choices. The design principles we discuss in this course are as relevant to simulated 3D environments and AR contexts as to virtual reality experiences. What we will cover in this course is not limited to applications that need VR headsets. Objectives. The objectives of this chapter are for you to understand the basics of what immersion and presence mean in the context of XR experiences, and what the different aspects of immersion and presence are. Understand how design principles and elements can be used to manage user spatial awareness, their perspective and experience of spatial relationships within XR media. Develop a basic understanding of principles for designing user interfaces, controls and feedback mechanisms. Understand how design elements work together to guide user attention and manage information density. Understand how all the principles discussed can be used to tell visual stories and build narratives that enhance the experience of presence in immersive environments. Agenda. This chapter consists of 7 sections that will help you achieve the objectives. You can expect a few interactive aspects on some of the parts that will reinforce what you have learnt. This chapter will end with a quiz to help you test your own learning. When designing for XR technologies, an important goal will be to help the user engage with your content and draw them in to feel present in the digital, mixed, or augmented environment. Pay attention to your current environment for a moment. What are the things that make you feel that you are really there? Now take a few seconds to consider the words on your screen that convinces you that you are in the real world. Drag and drop the elements that you think will play a role when designing for immersive media into the toolbox box on the screen. Complete the drag and drop assignment on the screen. Immersion and presence are closely related concepts in the context of XR technologies, but they are not identical. Immersion refers to the degree to which a user is absorbed in a digital environment. It's about the sensory experience, the quality of the visual and auditory stimuli, and the overall technical fidelity of the experience. A highly immersive experience is one that engages the user's senses and draws them into the virtual world. Immersion is mostly determined by the technology and capabilities of the hardware, but is also affected by design choices. Presence, on the other hand, is a more subjective experience. It's the psychological state where a user feels as if they are truly present in a virtual environment. It's the feeling of being there, even though physically, they are elsewhere. Presence is influenced by factors like immersion, but also by the user's emotional connection to the experience, their belief in the virtual world, and their ability to interact with it meaningfully. In essence, immersion is about the technical quality of the experience. Presence is about the user's perception of that experience. In this chapter we focus more on presence than on immersion because this course is about visual design and therefore excludes hardware. You can learn more about hardware choices in Chapter 6, and the additional resources provided at the end of this course. Some of the key psychological factors contributing to presence include the level of realism, cognitive load, and emotional engagement. To evaluate how strong the sense of presence is for a virtual environment, you can start by asking a few questions. Firstly, ask, how real does it seem? How real does it look? Visual realism relates to high-quality graphics, realistic lighting, and accurate spatial representation contribute to a strong sense of presence. How real does it sound? Auditory realism relates to spatial audio, binaural audio, and haptic feedback enhance the auditory experience, making the virtual world more believable. How real does the movement seem, and is there any feedback that you can feel? Kinesthetic realism relates to physical interaction with virtual objects and environments through motion tracking, and haptic feedback can further deepen the sense of presence. Haptic feedback can be achieved through vibrations of handheld devices. Secondly, ask, how does it engage the user's mind? A good way to engage the user is to tell a story with visuals and storylines. Engaging narratives and compelling storylines can transport users to different worlds and evoke strong emotions. We will get back to the importance of storytelling later in this chapter. Another important factor is how interactive the experience is. Allowing users to actively participate in the virtual world can increase their sense of being able to make decisions and be in control. Cognitive load, balancing information and interaction to avoid overwhelming the user's cognitive capacity. Too much information and interaction can alienate a user. Too little information and interaction can lose the user's interest. Thirdly, you can ask, how does it engage the user's emotions? Eliciting emotions, using strategic choices of visuals, colors, typography, imagery, sounds, music, voice, EFX, natural sounds, and narratives to evoke emotions like fear, joy, delight, surprise, trust or sadness. Lastly, you can ask how much empathy and connection you can feel with characters. Creating opportunities for empathy and connection with virtual characters or environments can draw a user into the virtual world. We can see from the factors listed that it is important to consider the design of environments, characters, and objects as well as how users interact with them when designing for immersive applications. Look at this example of a 3D environment from the Lacoste Summer Virtual Store from summer 2024. What emotions does this environment elicit for you? Drag and drop the appropriate word images on the screen into the ice bucket. Click Continue when ready to proceed. For me, the emotions I associate with this environment are happiness, excitement, fun, and curiosity. Is it the same as what you selected? Remember, the effectiveness of design elements in eliciting emotions depends on the specific context, target audience, and cultural factors. What design elements that we discussed earlier do you think elicit these emotions for you? Make some notes for yourself to use later. Compare the environment you just looked at with this image, which is from a 360-degree virtual real estate tour. You can experience scrolling through the image if you follow this link displayed on the screen. Sensory experiences play a pivotal role in creating immersive experiences. By stimulating multiple senses simultaneously, these experiences can transport us to different worlds and evoke strong emotional responses. Here are some examples of how each sense contributes to immersion. Visual experience. High-resolution graphics, detailed and realistic visuals contribute to a sense of presence and realism. The difference in detail, or resolution between the lady and the background in image A makes it clear that this environment is not real. The highly detailed texture in image B makes it look like a real rock wall. Realistic lighting and shadows. Proper lighting and shadowing enhance depth perception and create a more immersive environment. The lighting and consistent shadows in image B enhance the visual realism of the rock wall. The simulated light source in image C is consistent and creates convincing 3D shapes. Spatial awareness. Accurate spatial representation of objects and environments helps users perceive the virtual world as a real place. In image D, the human figure helps us to understand the scale of the environment. We will focus more on spatial awareness in the next part of this chapter. Auditory experience is a powerful way to create a sense of presence, although it is not the focus of this course. Spatial audio, sound that is positioned in 3D space, can create a sense of immersion by making the user feel surrounded by sound. Realistic sound effects. Authentic sound effects can enhance the realism of the virtual environment. Music and soundtracks. Music can evoke emotions and enhance the overall experience. Tactile experience is dependent on hardware availability. Haptic feedback. Physical sensations, such as vibrations or pressure, can enhance the sense of touch and realism. Motion tracking. Tracking the user's physical movements and translating them into actions in the virtual world can create a more immersive experience. Olfactory experience. Scent. While less common in current XR technologies, scent can significantly enhance immersion by triggering memories and emotions.